How 1983 Topps baseball foldouts taught me to appreciate Ron Say. For a kid just getting started following baseball in the spring of 1983, it was tough to figure out who was who in the game. There was no internet or cable, at least not at our house, to help me learn about the history of baseball. And all the baseball books at the local library were pretty old. What I did have, though, was my burgeoning interest in collecting baseball cards and a couple of local retail outlets to feed my new hobby. It was there on the shelf of our Hooks drugstore, nestled among the Snicker bars and the regular baseball cards, Topps, Fleer, Donruss, that I first laid my eyes on the glory of the 1983 Topps baseball foldouts. Postcard-sized baseball lessons. Each cellophane-wrapped package of foldouts was about the size of a postcard, but thick enough to be a booklet or small writing pad. The front showed, I'd learn later, Ben Oglivie in full swing with the Milwaukee Brewers, as well as information about the issue and the individual package. 17 home run leaders and set 2 of 5, for example. The back of the package showed the active leader in whatever category the set showcased. So there in the span of just a few inches of shelf space, I had the opportunity to learn about the highest ranking players in the most important statistical categories, at least according to Topps. Number 1, career wins. 2, home runs. 3, batting average, batting leaders in top parlance. 4, saves, relief aces. 5, stolen bases. I knew I had to have them, and collecting a full set of foldouts became my first real hobby goal. Kids dig home run leaders. Even with very little knowledge of the game, I did know that home runs were exciting, and I recognized Reggie Jackson on the outside of the home run leaders package, so that's the one I chose to start my set. I couldn't even wait to get home before I tore open the wrapper and unfolded the accordion of sluggers across the bench seat of our old pickup truck. And I remember them flapping in the wind that blew through the open windows as my mom drove along. Besides Reggie, I recognized some of the other names, and even a couple of faces as they spilled out in the glossy full-color glory. Johnny Bench, Tony Pettis, Joe Morgan, George Foster. My dad had told me about the Big Red Machine, so those guys at least I'd heard of. And Mike Schmidt, who was already emerging as my favorite player, sat in 5th place on the active chart with 349 home runs. But I was most interested in players on the backside of the strip, many of whom I didn't know at all, guys like Rick Monday and John Mayberry. And there, at the very end of the string, was a mustachioed chap in cold-weather Chicago Cubs gear, with the shortest name of them all, Ron Say. Say was intriguing to me for several reasons. The short name, obviously, the fact that he had just squeaked into the list of active home run leaders, and the vague notion that I had other cards of him in my stacks. So when I got home, I dug through my cards and pulled out Say, likely his 1981 Topps or 1983 Topps base card, given the composition of my collection at that point. What I found out was that he was with the Los Angeles Dodgers as a third baseman throughout most of the 1970s and had lots of home runs. Duh. I also wondered why he had been traded to the Cubs and figured the move meant his career was about over. Even at that early stage, I understood the relative positions of the Cubs and Dodgers in the Major League Baseball food chain. Rooting for the underdog, searching for a hidden gem. What my Say research really did for me was to light a spark of curiosity and a love of possibility. Were there other Ron Says out there who didn't get much love anymore, or who were obscure, at least to me, but who were also among the best at what they did? I was most certain there were, and I soon discovered guys like Hal McRae, Dwight Evans, and Al Oliver. None of them saw much play in the sporting news or in This Week in Baseball by that point, but all of them had racked up impressive career numbers. I also discovered that Say shared a rookie card with Schmidt, 1973 Topps number 615, but that Say's real cardboard debut came on card number 761 of the 1972 Topps set. Say and Schmidt were nearly exact contemporaries, but Run seemed to be winding down while Mike kept cranking for the fills. While I loved Schmidt, and I still do, I fell into rooting for Say to somehow keep pace. Schmidt seemed to be a sure bet to join the 500-run club, and I really wanted Say to follow him in. I didn't even consider that Say was already 35 years old and not even halfway to 500. I just wanted to pull for the long shot and see him make good. As it turned out, Say made it into 45 games into the 1987 season before retiring at age 39 with 316 home runs. He didn't even achieve the goal I had set for him, but he helped me understand the emotional pull that the underdogs exert on fans across the full spectrum of sports. If you search your memory and your baseball cards, I bet you'll uncover your own Ron Say.